Hello, hello, welcome back. And if you're new here, I'm Jamie. When we finish a quilt top, we often feel a sense of loyalty to it. We see every hour we spent, every scrap we carefully stitched in place, and every decision we made to get it done. But there is a difference between a piece being finished and a piece being resolved as art. If we hesitate to crop, it's usually because we are valuing our effort that we put in over the impact of the art itself. I'm going to show you why I cut off the third sister in last week's quilt and how I used the leftover parts to create another quilt that stands on its own. And I'm also going to tell you why I'm going to actually show you why cropping was a powerful tool in this process. Because sometimes the bravest thing we can do for our art is to stop looking at what we've done and start looking at what it could become. Before we get going, I want to let you know about another opportunity where we could work together in person, and that is this August of 2026, at the Madeline Island School of the Arts. This is in northern Wisconsin on an island. Yes, you have to take a ferry to get there, which is super cool. I have been there before as a student, and I can tell you that the accommodations are wonderful. The food is amazing, and the little town is charming. The scenery, of course, is phenomenal because of the lake surrounding it. And there really isn't anything to not like about the Madeline Island School of the Arts. I would love it if you would join me there. We will have 5 days of fun and sewing. I'll put a link above and also in the description if you want to learn more about it. Hope to see you there. So why did I cut her out? Let's go back and look at all three of them together. At one point, I had where the center sister had her arms around her sisters, and I thought this was really cool. And then when I went to assemble each of the sisters, if you remember from last week, I super goofed up when I did her neck. And even though I finished piecing it and trying to fix it, the longer I looked at it, the more I couldn't live with it. So I made the big edit, and this is what I ended up with last week. This week, I looked at all the components that were left over. I don't want to waste things. I don't want to waste fabric. I don't want to waste my time. I want to utilize everything to the best I can. So I pinned her to the wall, and as you've seen me do before, I am just auditioning the components I have on the wall to see what can I do with them? How can I use them? What will show up that I hadn't even thought of before just by playing, just by moving things around? Here I've got the hexagons as kind of a stole, and I really like that idea. And then I started looking at some of my yardage to see what could I do for a background. Now the stole is covering up the red on her neck, so I don't have to take that out. I can apply these hexagons on top. So this is a crop here. I thought I kind of liked this layout, so I took a photo of it and cropped it right on my phone to see. First of all, you get to see it small, so that gives you a different perspective of what the piece looks like from a distance. And I also, it's the beginning of the whole cropping idea. So once I decided that I did like these for the backgrounds, I simply took the yardage and stitched them kind of giant log cabin like onto her. This was that wonderful cherry wood fabric that was the green, picked up the green in her dress, was perfect. So here I've got them all sewn on. And now once again, I'm starting to play with the units that I'm going to applique on top. So I begin with the stole, covering up my big neck mistake, right? And then I had this brainstorm, what if I move those hexagon units up? What would they look like as hair? And here I flipped the top headpiece. Can be looked at as a hat. It can be looked at as hair. It can be interpreted by the viewer however they see it. At this point, I thought this is going to be my final layout. And I took a photo of it, and then I began to crop it in a number of different ways. And here are a few of those versions. Did you notice as they were flipping through the different crops, did any of them affect you? I'm going to replay all of them for you, and I'm going to put numbers on them. And I want you to settle into your body so you can feel your feelings. I know it sounds weird. And then if any of them affect you, let me know in the comments by number which one affected you. And if you want to share why or how, that's up to you. But I would like to know which one by number you had a reaction to. Please pause the video, go into the comments, type the number of the cropped image that affected you the most. And if you like, you can put just the number, or you can put the number and any kind of explanation that you'd like to share. Totally up to you. Once you've done that, come back and we're going to talk some more about the crops. Now, if you had any kind of reaction, good, bad, or ugly, to any of them, it just shows you the power of cropping the exact same image. Now that you've recorded how they affected you, looking at them one at a time, let's look at them all together. Does any of them really resonate with you as an image? Does seeing them all together change your perspective from when you saw them one at a time? A number of things strike me. The upper left corner, my eye is bothered by the 4 light hexagons in the headpiece. If there were 5 or 3, I might not be so bothered, but I am bothered. Likewise, in the one below, on the lower left, there are only 2, and I kind of wish there were 3 because my eye goes right to those 2 dots. Now you'll see the same thing, center bottom, there's 4. And this is something that I did not notice earlier on. And this will happen to you as well. So when I look at the lower right, there are still 4 hexagons, but for some reason when I squint, they're not as noticeable, maybe because there's more going on in the overall image. The upper right and the upper center are my favorites. Upper center might be my overall favorite, but I really liked how the bright green cherry wood fabric at the top kind of balanced the green in her garment. And so I chose that version for my final crop. Now my final crop is probably not exactly the same, and these were not sewn when I took these photos, they were not sewn together yet. So things shift and change a bit as you sew things. The other thing I'd like to talk about while we're looking at all 6 of them is the placement of the figure on the ground. And that is, one of those layout rules that you can either follow or break. But if you look at the center bottom layout, she's smack dab right in the middle, and her face is right smack dab in the middle. And so this is less desirable. Um, on most of them, she's 1/3 of the way, which is ideal according to the rules. Um, so that's also something to consider. And it's so easy. And many of my quilts, the faces are right smack dab in the middle. It's so easy to fall into that and not notice it. But if you start to practice this cropping thing, you will start to see that your eye is more interested in a piece when it's not smack dab in the middle. So play with that and see what you think when you're creating your own. This image is of her completely pieced, finished applique. Here is some of my doodle quilting up close peeks. Here she is on the design wall, quilted and bound. And here she is in my living room, where I always hang them right after I finish putting the binding on. It's my own little private ta-da. If you would like to see more of my work, I do have a gallery on my website, and I will put the link here for you if you want to check it out. I would also love to have you join us in our Quilt Like an Artist community. It's a small group of quilters who are exploring the artful side of quilting. We have a lot of fun, and we would love to welcome you there. I'll put a link here so you can check out all of the benefits, all of the stuff that you get, access to online courses, and all kinds of activities. So check it out, and if it feels right, hop in and we'll have some fun together.